everyone. Welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how you doing? Okay, so finally, we're seeing people with the silver bracelets on. Okay, but it's not for why you think. Some Democrats, including Representative LaMonica McIver, the Democratic mayor of Newark, not New York, Newark, New Jersey. They've broken into the ICE detention center in Newark, New Jersey. Why? Okay. Were you seizing the moment? Huh? As the bus was entering the facility? Hmm. Now I've got footage for y'all. Okay. But I mean, seriously.
Coleman, myself, Congresswoman LaMonica McIver, and Congressman Rob Menendez. We're here conducting an oversight visit, which we have the power to do as congressional members. Statutory authority. And so that is what we're here for, and we're waiting to speak to a supervisor to let us in here because, as you can see, they will not let us in.
They have been arrested for criminal trespassing. These arrests were carried out by DHS. But don't get your hopes up. Because they're probably just going to get a, don't do that, naughty, naughty. You know how this works.
So we have some new information from DHS regarding this incident that we've been watching. I know this is sort of a static shot here of these few folks on the other side of this fence, but we want to fill you in on what has been happening in Newark, New Jersey. DHS says, quote, a group of protesters, including 2 members of Congress, stormed the gate and broke into the ICE detention facility. The members, Robert Menendez Jr. and Bonnie Watson Coleman, and multiple protesters are holed up in a guard shack area, the first security checkpoint. Interim U.S. Attorney Alina Habba for the District of New Jersey posting on X that Newark's Democrat mayor, Ras Baraka, was there and, quote, committed trespass. Here he is talking about the facility earlier in the week.
We know what ICE has done in the past. We've seen them. We know how they operate. We know that they have picked people up who have not broken any laws. We know they've deported people and refused to bring them back.
So joining me now by phone, Republican New Jersey Congressman Jeff Van Drew. Congressman, good to have you with us. What is your understanding of what happened here and what's going on?
Well, I don't know that any of us totally understand what happened there. It's not understandable. It's people who are supposed to be writing the laws, abiding by the laws, believe in the rule of law, and they are breaking the law. And what's really disturbing that this happened in New Jersey, in the state that is a sanctuary state declared by the governor, where we've spent money on God knows what, on clothing, housing, feeding, transporting, and everything else with illegals. Now we don't want to send those illegals back to where they belong, that have been indicted or convicted at their country of origin or in the United States. We don't need that here in America, and we don't need it here in New Jersey. These folks who were there, especially the members of Congress, and I'm always reluctant to criticize my colleagues, but this is terrible. They don't have their finger on the pulse of what real hardworking Americans are thinking. You know what, Martha? Most people right now in New Jersey are breaking their ass, trying to make a living, doing the best they can to pay their mortgage. There are very high taxes in the state of New Jersey, and they're sick and tired of this.
Do you have any indication? We know that Alina Habba, the interim attorney of New Jersey, she says that the mayor of Newark, Baraka, committed trespass. Do you have any idea if he's in custody or he was arrested? We're trying to get some clarity on that.
I know, and to the best of my knowledge, he is not in custody. But that, things are breaking and changing as we speak, so I don't know that for sure. But here is someone in the executive branch of local government, a mayor of our largest city in the state of New Jersey, willing to break the law that he is supposed to have enforced. And that is such a disturbing picture. That is just unacceptable. So, and Alina Hobb is doing a great job, and she's a great U.S. attorney, interim right now. I'm hopefully she will be our permanent U.S. attorney in the state of New Jersey. So she needs to do what she needs to do in order to ensure that we abide by the rule of law. This is America. We're a nation of laws, and we believe in the rule of law. And I can't tell you how profoundly disturbed I am that, there are those folks who should be actually enhancing the enforcement of the law who are purposely breaking it, making America weaker, New Jersey weaker. It's a bad thing.
Get off of her! You cannot push it! You cannot Congress! You can't push members of Congress! Get off of her!
Pathetic. You okay, Ron? It's no sense to take this team.
No, don't talk to me! Don't talk to me! What is that? You are escalating the situation. Don't tell me you can't put a hand on there. They cannot. Fuck you! This is a sex show. You cannot.
What?
And you better not touch her either. Tell him.
Get into the nitty-gritty, shall we? So this happened yesterday on the 9th at the Delaney Hall Ice Detention Center facility in Newark, New Jersey. And it's a wild story. Okay, so strap yourselves in. You got a seatbelt. Put your tray tables up. Okay. So 3 Democratic members of Congress, Representatives Rob Menendez Jr., Bonnie Watson Coleman, and LaMonica McIver, show up at the facility with the Newark mayor, R.A.S., Baraka, okay, and a group of protesters holding signs. Yeah, okay. Their stated goal, because they had a goal in mind, was to conduct an oversight visit. Yeah, that was their ploy. To check on the conditions inside. Spurred by concerns, because all of a sudden they care about the facility's compliance with local ordinances and broader issues with the ICE operations under this administration's immigration policies. Now let's back up. Did they care the last 4 years about the compliances? I didn't think so. So this facility, which is run by a private group called the GEO Group, GEO, had recently reopened. And critics, including Baraka, argued that it lacked proper permits and inspections. Does it? So here's where it gets spicy, like ghost pepper spicy. According to DHS, as a bus of detainees were entering the facility, the group, including the Lawmakers, stormed the gate. Yeah, stormtroopers. And broke into the detention center. Now, keep in mind, this is a federal detention center. So you would automatically think, federal charges, right? No. And ended up in a guard shack at the first security checkpoint. So DHS called it a bizarre political stunt. Maybe they wanted to make a name for themselves. I don't know. They said that this stunt endangered law enforcement and detainees, which rightfully so, it probably did. They claimed that the lawmakers could have just requested a tour and they would have been accommodated. So the lawmakers, now remember, they are lawmakers. Now they're lawbreakers. I just had to put that in there. however, pushed back hard on the storming narrative. Watson Coleman's office called DHS's account factually inaccurate, saying that they were there to exercise their oversight authority and were eventually escorted in after explaining the law to the officials. So they have to explain the law now. After they broke the law, they got to explain the law. Is that it? I just want to make sure I get my facts straight. Okay? So things then escalated when Baraka, who wasn't allowed inside because he's not a member of Congress, okay, just remember, he's just the mayor, okay, got into a heated exchange with an ICE agent. Now, the video footage, okay, showed him being told, you can't, no entree, okay, you have to go, you can't be in the secured area. And then, despite being on public property, he was swarmed by ICE agents. Some had masks on, you know, and he was arrested for trespassing, okay. Then Alina Habba, Habba, the interim U.S. attorney and former Trump lawyer, announced the arrest, saying Baraka ignored multiple warnings, which he did. And he chose to disregard the law, which he did. So then he was charged with 1 count of trespassing, held for about 7 hours, and then he was released that night. So the lawmakers reported being manhandled during the chaos. You tried to break into a federal facility. What did you think was going to happen? You think he's just going to give you the key, get out there and have fun? So MacGyver said she was assaulted. Nobody's going to touch it, trust me. And Menendez described an ICE officer shoving MacGyver as an act of intimidation. They don't do that unless you're an inmate. But now you're going to become an inmate, so you better watch your ass. I'm sorry. I hate to laugh. But, you know, with these lawmakers, they make the laws, right? But when they go and they break the laws, okay, do you see where I'm going with that? So, and then Watson Coleman, who's 80 years old, noted that they were roughed up. They argued that if ICE could treat elected officials this way, it raised serious concerns about how they treat detainees and everyday people. Well, you see, the thing is, Coleman, detainees don't try and break in. They're trying to break out. So there's a big difference between you and them. Okay. So after a 2-hour wait, the lawmakers did get a tour. They found the facility clean. The detainees were fed and probably well taken care of. They get taken care of better than we do out here, right? Because at least they get 3 hots and a cot. Okay, we got homeless vets that don't even get that. Okay. So, but they said that they were made critical of ICE's broader conduct. So the reaction here is polarized. DHS, the White House, they slammed the Democrats, which rightfully so. They shouldn't have broken in like that, okay? With the White House spokesman accusing them of prioritizing illegal aliens over American citizens and then crossing into the outright breaking the law, which is what they did. So I know a lot of people on social media, they are calling for felony charges, even expulsion from Congress, which, yeah. Because if that were you or I, okay, we would be charged with insurrectionists. You know it as well as I do. we would have felony charges slapped all over our heads, and we would lose our lives. We would lose everything that we've worked so damn hard for. And this is a federal crime. But now you've got Governor Murphy from New Jersey and Senator Cory Booker that are condemning the arrest of Baraka, saying that it's outrageous and unnecessary. He committed a crime, man. He committed a crime. They demanded his release, and immigrant rights groups are calling it reckless response to oversight efforts. Yeah, that's exactly what this is. You have politicians that are committing crimes. They get a slap on the wrist, released 7 hours later, but yet if it was somebody else, a regular old Joe or Jane, we would have been buried underneath that jail by now. So let's take a step back, okay? Think critically for just a moment. The breaking in claim, it seems exaggerated, but it's really not. DHS says that they rushed the gate when it opened for a bus, but the lawmakers are insisting that they asserted their legal oversight rights. The truth likely lies in a very gray area here. Chaotic protesting, tense standoff, both sides digging in. Baraka's arrest, especially after he left the secure area, raises questions, but he did try to, I don't want to use the word strong arm. That phrase isn't correct. He tried to use his position of power, if you will. And when they said, well, wait a minute, you're not actually a lawmaker, you're just a mayor, you haven't gotten to that level yet. So stand off to the side, guy. Okay. So the involvement of HABA adds political edge here, okay? That's hard to ignore. On the flip side, ICE is dealing with high-stakes environment, housing serious criminals, okay? So they're not exactly rolling out the welcoming mat for unannounced visits at all, okay? You want to have a tour, you got to get that cleared. You have to have certain security clearance. Just because you're a Democrat for the House, Senate, whatever, doesn't automatically give you security clearance. Okay? I mean, you have... I'm not even going to go down that road because I know where that road leads. Because I'm married to one. Okay? Trust me when I tell you. Security clearance through Department of Homeland Security is no joke. Just saying. Okay, so this whole thing smells like Clash of the Agendas, not Clash of the Titans, Clash of the Agendas. Democrats can flex all they want because they don't like the immigration crackdown. They don't like ICE. Too bad. Okay, ICE is backed by this administration. They crossed a line. They crossed a hard line that has been drawn. They don't like that line, so they decided they wanted to cross it. They got pushback. They don't like it. So now they're crying. Too bad. This is a power struggle playing out in real time. First, showing up unannounced with protesters at a secure ICE facility is not just bold. It's reckless. The facility's gate was breached. Even if just for a moment it was breached. Okay? When the group moved in as a bus entered, which DHS says endangered staff and detainees, that's not a small thing. okay, when you're dealing with a federal detention center. Okay, ICE's stance is that the lawmakers could have just called ahead and said, hey, this is what we need to do in order to make sure things are up to par. But no, they rolled in and tried to disguise themselves with protesters. This smells like a publicity stunt. Okay? Then you've got optics. These are elected officials, not random activists. They are rushing a gate, even if they claim it was to assert oversight. No, you can't do that without making plans first, okay? I mean, you can look like you're exploiting their authority and to skirt protocol, okay? And the chaos, Baraka's arrest, the alleged shoving, not only fuels the narrative, man, that they stirred up in a volatile situation. If ICE is telling the truth, which, what are they going to get out of lying, first of all? Okay, the Dems are going to lie before the ICE agents do, okay, about the group's actions. It's hard to argue that they didn't push past, okay, reasonable boundaries here, especially when the Fed and the facility, they're not exactly known for welcoming you with open arms. So with that being said, the other side, do they have a point? They argue that ICE escalated things unnecessarily. By arresting Baraka on public property. But they warned him. Step aside. You don't have security clearance. Step aside. Okay? You're not at that level yet. Step aside. He didn't want to step aside. He's pretty much told, step aside or else. He didn't take that or else, so they arrested his ass. Okay? Rough treatment of lawmakers, I don't buy that for 2 seconds. I don't buy it. I think that they pushed the boundary. I think they crossed the line and they got what they deserved. Is it possible both sides are spoiling for a fight? No. Given the political heat around immigration and Trump's policies, I think that the Democrats are spoiling for a fight, not the ICE agents. The ICE agents have a very, very hard job to do. They have to make sure that that facility is secure 24 flip-flop and you know, I mean it's just, it's absurd. Okay, then you have some of the most dangerous criminals in those facilities. You think they want to take a chance by saying, come on in, Congressman, take a look around. Go ahead, go see the inmates. No. First of all, they're not going to let them in, because then they can put the senators or the congressmen or whoever the hell they are in danger. Okay? It's just not the way that it works. You have to call ahead, because then they have to take precautions and everything else. They have to make sure that the entire facility is on lockdown. No. No. Sorry. Charge them. Charge them to the fullest extent. Let them feel the same way that we would feel if we were to do this. Point blank, period. Alright, I'm out of here. I'll see you in the next one, okay? You stay safe, you stay positive, you keep prepping, and as always, fearless. Ciao.